All right. Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Water and Power Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. This proceeding is being broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Board of Water and Power Commissioners, please say present for roll call. Commissioner KATZ.
Present.
Commissioner Marks.
Present.
Commissioner Pinder.
Present.
Commissioner TRAN.
Present.
4 board members, a quorum is present. Commissioner Pinder.
Thank you. Good morning to those who are here before us today. I am your presiding officer for today, and I have to say, if you're a football person, I have had more notes, I'm wired for sound, I wish I was, to get us through this first meeting of the year. Because it is a new position for me sitting here today, and I have said to the commission secretary, who you have known for a longer time than myself, to please call in any plays from the side. She does not have to jump up to hand me a note. She can just say, Commissioner, look at item number so-and-so. And that's the way we're going to get through this today. So I want you to bear with me in that respect. Again, for those of you that follow football, we just hope there won't be too many fumbles, or if there are, we can recover the ball. And I say that because I understand that Bears game, former USC quarterback, somebody tell me his name, Caleb Williams. I understand that was one of the most recovery from being down so long and catching up. And since he's a Trojan and I'm a Trojan, I'm going to try to bring that spirit here today. So anyway, just bear with me and have a little humor as we go through this. At this point, I'm going to ask, oh, by the way, you will see some new faces here and other faces that have now, so we'll say retired, are no longer on the board. I'm going to ask, starting with to my left, and then follow to my right, and then even you, Commissioner KATZ, after these two have spoken. I'm going to ask these new commissioners, and when I say new commissioners, let's just clap, okay? New commissioners. I don't know them very well myself, and if you know anything about Robert's rules, we can never, any three of us, ever be together at the same time unless it's on record and all of that. So it's more tortuous than you know, even trying to get to know your commissioners. And so I'll probably learn more about them today than certainly previously. So starting to my left, Commissioner Benny Tran, would you please share with our audience, which is both live and here, anything you care to say?
Thank you, Madam Commissioner, Madam Interim Chair. My name is Benny Tran. I have worked in many different sectors, including the sustainability sector with the Clean Climate Initiative, also in public health, and then I had the pleasure of moving to Los Angeles, never having been here ever before, to start the Los Angeles Football Club and be a major part of building the stadium, of which we partnered with the LADWP very early on in the Savings by Design program, and also the EV charging program. And LADWP was most recently, until this past year, we'll see if we continue to be that, were our main partners at Los Angeles Football Club. So it's been a great journey and a great ride. I was also recently a board commissioner for Parks and Recs and Parks. I apologize. So correct me on that. And thank you. It's an honor to be here to support the city, support Mayor Bass, and support the citizens of Los Angeles. What you do here is incredible work. It's a lot of work. It's very unique, but it's very important. And to be one of the more innovative utilities and nonetheless a public utility, I look forward to working with everyone and also to service the citizens of this great city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Commissioner Allen Marks?
Good. Commissioner Pinder, thank you very much. And also thank you for the kind welcome. I was confirmed and joined the commission, this is my first meeting, but I joined in the middle of December. And since then, it has been like drinking from a fire hose with all of the information. I'm Allen Marks. I'm a lawyer and have worked in energy and infrastructure in the private sector for about 35 years. This is my first public role. And I think Commissioner Pinder and Commissioner KATZ, your experience has been vital. And I will say for both of you, thank you for being so welcoming and helping with this process. And Commissioner TRAN, I'm looking forward to working with you too. We're new kids on the block. And I know Janice Quinones, the CEO, is not here today, but she and the rest of the senior leadership team at the department have also been likewise very, very helpful in helping me to understand some of the complexity of this publicly owned utility. One of the things I think that's important and is different about being at a publicly owned utility is we are accountable to the citizens. We are accountable to the residents. We are accountable to the people of the city of Los Angeles, not to private shareholders. We have a talented, dedicated workforce of nearly 12,000 employees at DWP. And for me to have the opportunity to give back to the community where my grandparents first came in 1915, and to be part of standing on the legacy of current commissioners, of prior commissioners, of most recently President Richard KATZ, people who have built this community and built this institution is really a privilege and an honor. So I appreciate Mayor Bass and the City Council for their trust. I look forward to earning it. And I know that we, and by we I mean the commission, but I will take the liberty of speaking on behalf as well of management and the employees, that we at the Department of Water and Power take very seriously the goal, and I look forward to furthering the goals of keeping water and power in the city of Los Angeles reliable, affordable, safe, and clean. So thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
will you please greet us as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I will just say a word of welcome to both of our new commissioners. I think Commissioner Pinder and I both are really delighted by your appointments, the wealth of expertise that you are both bringing to the dais, and to oversight of the utility. As you just heard from Commissioner Marks and Commissioner Tran, they both have a lot of really important background and knowledge ranging from sustainability and construction to infrastructure, finance, all of which is extremely relevant to ensuring that we continue, as Commissioner Marks said, to provide reliable and affordable energy and clean water, but also as we move towards the future and the ambitious goals of the city of Los Angeles, moving to 100% clean energy by 2035 and also 70% local water. And I am really glad to have you both here to help us continue to move forward and continue to improve the work of this utility. And I certainly echo your comments in terms of being honored to serve in such an amazing organization. We have so much talent and expertise in our staff. And, especially I know later today we're going to hear about storm preparations and actions. And I especially am grateful for all of our field staff who are out there, rain or shine or wind or, we don't get much sleet and snow here in Los Angeles, but really out there in difficult conditions. Thank you, Commissioner Pinder, and welcome Commissioners Marks and Tran.
Thank you. I think we're ready at this point for general public comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Pinder. To the people providing public comment, when it is your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you'd like to speak to. You will have 2 minutes per item, up to 5 minutes total. If you are speaking on a specific item, you must stay on topic, otherwise your time will be forfeited. If you are only speaking for general public comment, you will have 2 minutes. During general public comment, members of the public may speak to any of the items and anything else within LADWP's subject matter jurisdiction. A timer will sound when your time allotment has expired. The first speaker will be Alida Banda, who will be followed by Gerardo Ledesma.
Good morning. I know I only had 2 minutes, and I'm going to try to be the fastest I can. I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous. The reason why I'm here today is because I have a really bad problem with my bill, and it's been for the past 3 years. I've been trying to get in touch with whenever who can help me with this, but every time I try, I even send all the paper that I request, but I never get an answer back. So they just transfer me from one person to another, and I really need to get an answer on this. So that's the main reason why I'm here today, and well, that's basically what I'm here today. I really need help on this.
So
and
is
it's been more than 3 years. And they said that because I accept the churches, but the only reason why I accept the churches is because I used to have a business. So they went over and cut the water of my business, and it's something that they transferred from somebody else. So how do I wasn't able to say no, because if I say no, I won't be able to keep my business running. So that's the only reason why I said the churches, but until today, they just still avoiding me.
All right,
And I
but
think that's not fair at all.
Would you state the amount on that bill?
Of course. I had the bill with me, and I already paid the half of that.
That's okay.
I already paid the half. It was this amount.
$103,447.
And I don't think that that's fair at
Okay,
all.
thank you. I had seen it when I stepped into the audience to speak to you. I thank you for bringing that matter before us.
I think Joe over
Who
here.
will direct?
We have a representative from our customer relations office who can assist, meet with the customer right now, and then
thank you.
provide a report to the board on the situation and what we might be able to
Thank you.
help
Thank you
with.
so
That is what
much.
I so appreciate it. They are going to address that with you today while you're here.
And Christian Estrada in the back will meet with you now, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And thank
again.
you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you to everyone.
Before we go on, I do want to say something about this agenda, because I've already skipped ahead. For item B, it was to be election of officers, so that we had a permanent president. However, I'm going to move that election, since I'm enjoying this so much, I'm going to move that election to the end of our agenda. So if there is someone who was waiting for that particular spot, I have now moved it to the end of the agenda, because we might get in a fist fight, and we want to save our energy to the end of the meeting for that. All right, so item B, election of officers, is now moved to the end of the agenda. Thank you. So let us continue if there are any others.
The next speaker will be Gerardo Ledesma, who will be followed by Ernesto Macias.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to talk regarding item 17. My name is Gerardo Ledesma. I am the owner of Tree Service Kings. Thank you for the opportunity to continuing to serve the city of LA. Tree Service Kings was born and raised here in Los Angeles in 2006. We started by servicing homeowners and commercial properties, then our utility company. This is our backyard. We are constantly meeting and exceeding our performance expectations. Servicing both areas of Metro and the Valley, we can respond quickly and be more efficient. We take pride in reducing outages caused by vegetation. This is not just a contract to us. This is our city, our employees, and our families. And our crews show up every day in difficult conditions, heat, wind, rain, or emergencies, because we understand how critical this work is to the safety and the stability of our city. Over these 5 years, we have earned the trust of LADWP's field team and leadership through constant performance, safety, and accountability. I respectfully ask to consider awarding Tree Service Kings a full bid so we can continue doing what we have been doing successfully for 5 years, protecting the city, preventing outages, and serving Los Angeles with pride. Thank you.
So was this a situation, sir? Was this a situation where you simply did not get the bid? I mean, was it
Well,
many bidders?
the bid is divided into two. We're the lowest bidder as a whole for the whole bid, but the bid got divided into two, and one area we're a little bit higher than our competitors.
Well, you know, it is a competitive situation, and every dime, every dollar counts. I'm just sharing that with you.
understand.
I did not know anything about it, don't know other than what you said. I do appreciate how you have presented yourself here. No
Thank you.
hostility, just saying, I'm in the game, I want to stay
Wanna
with it.
continue.
But those are rules that we try to follow because we're mandated to do that.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
you have been heard. Stay in the process, stay in the bidding. As you said, since 2006, you've been in this. You wouldn't be this far ahead 20 years
Right,
if you
thank you.
didn't know your apples and your dollars and all of that. So I wish you good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker will be Ernesto Macias, who will be followed by Ryan Myers.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Ernesto Macias. I'm speaking here on part of agenda item number 17. I'm representing Tree Service Kings, a proud local minority-owned business based in the city of Los Angeles. I'm asking the Commission to reconsider awarding both Group 1 and 2 under IFB number 700 solely to TSK. TSK isn't just headquartered here. Our employees live here, raise families here, and support this community. Every paycheck we issue stays local. Every dollar earned is spent in Los Angeles. When you award to TSK, you are directly investing in the people who make this city run. In contrast, Utility Tree Service is not local. Though their paperwork shows Chino, UTS is a subsidiary of Aspen Tree Expert Company, headquartered in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They are not embedded in this community, and their track record raises serious concerns. When UTS previously held this contract, they struggled to meet LADWP's expectations. They turned to TSK for help. They help keep the system afloat. Some of the struggles may not be public, but we respectfully ask staff and the Commission to examine those reviews and operational reports closely. These serious questions about their current capacity to take on LADWP's most demanding region, which is the metro, where reliability and responses are critical. TSK has delivered. We have reduced tree-related outages. Trimming is on schedule. Our LADWP is able to manage the entire city with its current staffing levels because of our efficiency. During the Palisades fire, TSK deployed over 20 crews working 7 days a week, all while maintaining a full system. That's not theory, that's commitment in action. We know our protest appeal were denied, and we respect that process. But the concerns remain, and so is the opportunity to do what's right for the city. Awarding both areas to TSK means that operational success, it's about trusting the people who's proven themselves, keeping our resources in our communities, and standing with the workforce that's shown up and where it matters most.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would repeat pretty much what I just said to the gentleman who spoke before you. That was the same company, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you. And as far as something being outside of a city or the state, the City of Los Angeles, the Department of Water and Power, we do business with people all over the United States if it comes to that. So while we are certainly always looking for what we are trying to accomplish, and the people who handle it, the commissioners, we do not handle the bids. We have expert people who are handling those type of things. But I wouldn't want you to think that bids are simply looked at regionally or these are our people. We don't think like that. We are thinking in a broad economic range here. So your remarks have been heard. As I said to the other gentleman, your company is one with 20 years, and as you said yourself, you produce and do good things. I'm sure you will be looked at in a continuing and competitive situation with LADWP.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner.
You're welcome.
May I respond as well, Commissioner Pinder?
Yes, please. Stay, sir. Another
Oh,
commissioner.
he can sit if he
All
wants.
right.
Yeah, thank you. Just to both of the Tree Service Kings, speakers, really appreciate you raising these concerns. I will note that these contracts are a 1 year with renewal options. So we do take very seriously any concerns or considerations. Obviously, it's complex when coming from a competitor, but to the community, if you have any concerns with either company, please do raise those with us. We will be looking closely at the performance of these contracts, and long-term, we will continue to consider through this competitive process the best options for the city. It is a legal process, the RFQ process, so we do not have the option to award the contract differently today. I will say to the Tree Service Kings speakers, thank you for your service so far. As Commissioner Pinder said, please continue to bid as needed. And just on a personal note, I did have backyard tree trimming recently for utility lines, and was very appreciative of the notice and the service that I received. So again, thank you for the service you've given so far. Although we are not able to change the awarding of the contract today, again, we welcome any feedback from the community on any of our contractors, and we will continue to evaluate the performance of these contracts over time.
The next speaker is Ryan Myers, who will be followed by Valerie Lizarraga.
I'm Ryan Myers, the Director of Operations of Utility Tree Service. Well, I'll be speaking to item 17. Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to partner with LADWP on vegetation management services. On behalf of Utility Tree Service, we're honored to support your mission, keeping your electric system safe, reliable, and compliant for the communities that you serve. In the pre-bid conference, you emphasized that you intended to make 2 awards, 1 contract per area north and south. We just really wanted to thank you for choosing Utility Tree Service. In the South, it's a smart strategic decision for LADWP and its customers. And we are a local company. We are a California LLC, but we have over 700 employees here. Our employees live within drivable distance of LADWP, and we serve every major utility here in the state, from San Diego to SoCal Edison, PG&E up north, Sacramento, SMUD. So we're well versed in this industry. As far as value, we deliver the lowest life cycle cost while maintaining the highest standards of safety, quality, and regulatory compliance, which is huge for us. Our safety performance is peer leading. Our TCIR injury and incident rate is consistently 50% better than our competitors in the industry, which, as you guys know, this is a very dangerous work here that we do here. Our teams have ISA certified arborists and utility specialists with decades of experience on a LADWP system. What differentiates us is we have a comprehensive employee screening. We e-verify and drug test all of our employees and ensure 100% compliance with federal standards. We have a proprietary training program that exceeds OSHA and ANSI standards. We're SOC 2 certified IT, which is huge in this industry here to safeguard all of the distribution and transmission data. And the huge thing here is that we have rapid mobilization capabilities within the state as well as outside of the state. So as you guys know, with recent fires and things like that, we have a workforce we can tap on. Was that the 2-minute timer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll wrap it up here. We, again, are very, very committed to transparency, collaboration, and continuous improvement. Our goal is to align with LADWP's operational priorities and community values, delivering the best-in-class vegetation management every day. We want to thank you for your trust. We look forward to partnering with LADWP, answering your questions, and getting to work. We're ready to deliver the best-in-class vegetation management solutions that align with your operational goals and all of your community values.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I make one clarification from my prior comment? I invited the community to provide feedback on these contractors. I did not mean to the commission, so the commission is not engaged in selecting these vendors. We are approving the contract, but the selection is by staff. So if you do have any feedback on the service of these contractors, please share them with LADWP staff, and that is always welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. That's an important clarification because we don't do that, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Valerie Lizarraga, who will be followed by Fatima Murrieta.
Good morning. I'm going to be making a general comment. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Valerie Lizarraga. I am the Assistant Director of Organizing and Policy with Jobs to Move America's Western States team. JMA is a national nonprofit organization that conducts rigorous independent research on the manufacturing economy and works in coalition with communities to negotiate community benefit agreements that benefit all stakeholders, including promoting safe and quality jobs. In September 2025, members of our team and partners joined the Board of Water and Power Commissioners meeting to share about a new report that was published by JMA after 2 years of investigation, which documented troubling labor and environmental conditions at Neptune Technology Group, a major manufacturer of smart water meters based in Tallahassee, Alabama, and a key supplier of LAWP, as many of you know. According to the report, a majority of Neptune workers surveyed reported having witnessed or experienced at least one serious injury on the job. Nearly 70% of all surveyed workers reported experiencing or witnessing unfair treatment, including favoritism, inconsistent discipline, racism, and sexism, and that 2 landfills where Neptune sends its waste have long been the focus of environmental justice investigations and litigation. We believe that the City of Los Angeles and LADWP can and should continue to be a leader in uplifting strong worker standards and procuring equipment from companies that treat workers and its surrounding communities with responsibility and respect is crucial. At the board meeting in September 2025, the board committed to investigating these findings and agendized this item for further discussion. We are here to ask for an update if the board has engaged in any follow-up regarding these concerns and to ask you to follow through with your commitment to agendize this important item for further discussion. Thank you. And I'll just end that we brought 2 copies of the report for the 2 new commissioners and also want to say welcome. Thank you. Please let us know how we should hand it to you all.
Someone will take it now. Thank you.
The next speaker will be Fatima Murrieta, who will be followed by Martin Marufo. Good morning. My name is Fatima Murrieta. I'm here to give a public comment. I'm a senior organizer with Jobs to Move America, and I was also here at the last board meeting in September 2025, and I shared some of the key findings that Valerie just reviewed with you. And I'm here again to respectfully ask the board to follow through with your commitment to investigate these findings and to agendize a report back at an upcoming board meeting. Since we last spoke to you about the report, Neptune has hired a consultant to meet with workers on the clock to, quote, represent Neptune and their facility at Tallahassee, Alabama in developing training and communication materials regarding the National Labor Relations Act, according to federal disclosure documents. Neptune has mischaracterized the report's findings and JMA's activities, and these actions are very concerning. The Good Neighbors Alabama Coalition, which is made up of 25 organizations, and JMA is one of them, aims to partner with workers in the community and the company to address the issues outlined in the report. Our hope is that workers in the community in Alabama who build these water-saving infrastructure products for Los Angeles are doing so in safe and fair working conditions, and that strong environmental standards are put in place to protect surrounding communities. The coalition has asked Neptune to take the report's findings seriously and to come together in the pursuit of real solutions. But in a communication to its workers, Neptune falsely stated the report was, quote, coupled with a demand that the company recognize a labor union and a requirement that workers pay union dues. Neptune also falsely alleged that Good Neighbors Alabama and Jobs to Move America tried to trick workers into signing authorization cards. All is not true. In our opinion, Neptune's mischaracterizations remind us of union busting tactics, and we want a commitment to a win-win solution to solve these serious problems. And we look forward to seeing this item agendized at a future board meeting and hearing back from the board. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. We did request that staff investigate this issue, and we appreciate you raising it, and we will certainly reach out when there's any resolution or additional information from the water system. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mr. Martin Marufo, who will be followed by Bruce Resnick.
Good morning, Commission. Good morning, staff. Good morning, everybody. For the two new members, what were you thinking? This is a very difficult job. There's a lot here. I'm a lifelong resident of Los Angeles. Went to the public schools, did the whole route, worked at Southern California Edison, former employee of LADWP. Been in steam generation for a long, long time out on the outside. But it's important for the residents, for the citizens, and for our members at IBW Local 18, because I'm the business manager also of IBW Local 18, to have reliable, efficient, affordable power. Scattergood Generating Station has been discussed for many years, the repower, and it's of the utmost importance that we get this handled and pushed through. We do have environmental concerns. I live in Wilmington. I'm right next to Harbor Generating Station, so I understand what it's like to live next to a power plant. We also have refineries and we have chemical plants there, but the importance of having reliable power now at this time is so important that we cannot ignore the impact that it will have. We believe that we should be going to renewable power, but the technology's not there. This is an opportunity at Scattergood to have hydrogen introduced to our system, and this is going to help us get to that next level. We understand that hydrogen will be difficult and it'll be a challenge, but it's not impossible. We need to find a way to fix this, and it's not acceptable to just kick this can down the road. We are now working with environmental groups. We've spoken at the Water Resource Board to talk about extending some of the allowances we have to continue generating and using gas-powered energy. But we're at a point right now where we need to get this passed. We need to get this pushed forward. Please take all the time and attention you need, but this is of the utmost importance to everybody, members, citizens, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
We need 4 minutes for the next one. Final speaker will be Mr. Bruce Resnick.
Good morning. My name is Bruce Resnick. I'm the Executive Director of LA Waterkeeper. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Different commission from the last time I testified. Nice to see some new folks here, and welcome. And I'm here to support the groundwater replenishment project and all the modifications made. Wastewater recycling is absolutely critical if the city is going to meet its 70% local water goal and just be a water secure, water resilient city. And expanding the Tillman project from the original 25 MGD to 45 MGD is an extremely cost-effective way, since the project was already being developed, a way to get 20 MGD of local water and potentially reduce very expensive and energy-intensive pumping of water from Hyperion back up to the valley when the full Pure Water LA project comes on board. That being said, we are concerned and want to make sure that the commission and staff take all account to make sure that we're protecting flows in the LA River when we're recycling this water. We've actually been working very closely with staff over the last couple of years, very collaboratively, and we appreciate that, to identify solutions outside of what is proposed in the supplemental EIR. And we hope to continue that collaboration to make sure that we are both recycling as much water as we can for water security, but also protecting the critical flows of the LA River. We also look forward to the broader Pure Water LA project coming online. I can't stand up here and ever, without saying hopefully sooner than the 2056 goal. It is such a critical project and another great project for workers and labor. And also both these projects, the groundwater replenishment and the broader Pure Water LA, are going to be critical for us to reduce our import of water from places like Mono Lake and of course through MWD, Colorado River and Bay Delta, and help restore those critical ecosystems to health. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. I believe that was the last speaker.
Public comment is now closed at this time.
Thank you. The next agenda item is item number F, reporting and briefing. And Joe, while we know you well, since there are various people in the audience who may have come just to hear our CEO's remarks, will you introduce yourself and give a little background to our general audience before making that report?
Sure. Thank you very much, Commissioner. My name is Joe Romallo. I'm Chief Customer Officer at LADWP. I want to welcome everyone today. I'm sitting in for our CEO and Chief Engineer, Janice Quinones, today. My team oversees and works on all matters involving customer service, as well as billing, dealing with key accounts, as well as our residential and commercial customers. Also oversee the communications and community affairs team, who does a lot of the work, including one of the reports before you today concerning our Palisades work over the last year. Also supervise our distributed energy resources team that involves energy efficiency, battery storage, in-basin work. There's an item on your agenda today regarding a significant expansion toward our distributed energy resources, and our claims team as well. So when we have an incident in the community, if a water main breaks and it affects a customer, if a claim is filed, that team reviews those claims and works with our legal department to find a resolution for our customers. So very pleased to be with you today. We have some operational updates, if I can transition into that.
Yes, please.
Today we have, we'll start with Anselmo Collins, head of our water system, followed by Dave Hansen. I have a few items, and then Zariah Oliver Griffin, who is our Chief Resiliency and Emergency Management Officer, will also speak to a couple of items. But just before that, I just want to say welcome to our new commissioners. Very pleased to have you on board. On behalf of Janice, as well as our entire executive team, we look forward to working with you and for you, and are here as a resource to you. So thank you, and with that, I'll turn it over to Anselmo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, Commissioners. Anselmo Collins, head of the water system. Typically, this time of the year, I provide a water supply report to the board because this is when we collect the water, either snow or actual rain, that we use for water supply for the city of LA. So, as you know, we had a pretty wet December, especially towards the end of the year, beginning of January. So just between the 31st of December and January 4th, the city of LA got around 2.5 inches of water, which is quite significant because for the season, typically the city of LA on average gets around 15 inches. So we got 2.5 just in that period of time. But all the way since the beginning of the water year, which starts in October until January 12, we had received in the city of LA 12.4 inches of water. The San Fernando Valley got a little over 17 inches of water. So that's a pretty significant amount of water. That's allowed us to capture a little bit less than 56,000 acre feet of water. Those 56,000 acre feet of water translates to enough water to serve approximately 223,000 homes in Los Angeles for an entire year. So it's a pretty significant amount of water that we've received. It's still early in the season, so we're hoping to get more storms here, but also more storms up north so we can get more snowpack. So the Department of Water Resources, which is a state agency, every year conducts snow surveys. They conducted their first snow survey recently on December 30th at the Phillips Station, and they recorded 24 inches of snow. When you translate that to the snow water equivalent, or the water content, that's approximately 5 inches of water. So that's a pretty good start to the season as well. Statewide, the snowpack right now is around 81% of normal, and that is measured in different locations and averaged. For Los Angeles, as you know, we received our water for the LA Aqueduct from the eastern part of the Sierra Nevadas, and we have measured with snow pillows approximately 13.5 inches. Now, that number is going to be verified by doing our own snow surveys. Our first snow survey will be on February 1st, so we'll be able to verify exactly how much snow water content we have on the eastern side of the Sierras, which is what provides water to the city of Los Angeles. A couple other things that I wanted to mention. One of them is quite outstanding. So on January 6th, the state of California actually declared that there isn't a drought condition in the state for the first time in 25 years. So all parts of the state are not in a drought. That has not happened in 25 years. So that's pretty significant there.
In fact, I was going to say that myself, so I'm so glad that you made it an official announcement. I mean,
I just looked at your notes, Commissioner.
The significance of that is so great. I mean, we always are concerned about our little piece of the pie, but to have the entire pie, meaning California, drought-free, is just unbelievable.
Well, absolutely, especially considering that just 4 years ago, we were at the end of a multi-year drought. So as you can tell, as water managers, we got to manage when there's too much water and also when there's not enough water. And in this case right now, we're doing well. We hope to continue with that. And with that said, also the Department of Water Resources, they also every year, they provide an allocation of water for the state water project contractors. Metropolitan Water District, which is our wholesaler, is a state water project contractor. The state has announced an allocation of 10%. That means that Metropolitan right now, based on that, can get 10% of the amount of water that they're entitled to. Now, this number tends to change. So as the season progresses and we get more snowpack and more precipitation, the state will update that number. So the hope is that by the time we get to April, when we start the runoff season, that we'll have a much greater allocation percentage, which is good news for us because we do depend not just on the LA Aqueduct, but also on the State Water Project and the Colorado River via Metropolitan to supply water to the city of Los Angeles. And that's the end of my report on water supply. Thanks, Joe.
Dave Hansen, Senior Assistant General Manager of our power system.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, Commissioners. So in December of last year, we joined Mayor Bass, Councilmember Nazarian, and several DWP staff and climate leadership to celebrate a very large milestone on our path to 100% clean energy. We're proud to share that DWP has completely eliminated coal from our power supply. We would like to thank coal for its many years of service. On November 26, 2025, we received the last coal-fueled energy from Utah's Intermountain Power Project. We refer to it as IPP, which has been the final source of coal in our portfolio since about 2016. We now utilize energy from hydrogen-capable generating units that were recently constructed at the IPP facility as part of the modernization project known as IPP Renewed. Those new units currently run on natural gas and are capable of running on a fuel blend of natural gas up to 30% hydrogen, with a roadmap to eventually transitioning to 100% green hydrogen as a fuel source in the very near future. We expect to add green hydrogen to the fuel mix in 2026. Normally Power would be reporting on our performance during the recent winter storm outage, but Ms. Zariah Oliver Griffith will be covering that today since we were activated for emergency command. This time, towards the end of the year, is usually where we get a lot of requests for solar incentive customer projects to be energized so that they can qualify for their federal incentives and credits by the end of the year. This year, because of some foresight with our groups, New Business Engineering, as well as our advanced metering group, ATI, pivoted and shifted into prioritizing these meters, and we were able to get approximately 600 jobs energized between October and the end of the year to help all those customers with pending projects for their solar credits. So we're very thankful for that group to be able to identify that issue and pivot and handle it before we even became aware of it at the executive level. So good job, Emil. Good job, John Vanacore, Gary Carview, and team. Also, the power system is in the middle of our power reorganization. We just kicked that off last Monday, so we've been engaged with Korn Ferry as our consultants for about the last year, looking at moving us into a functional operating model instead of silos built on classifications. The power reorg bulletin and draft org chart should go out today, and by the end of the month, we'll put out the final bulletin and final org chart and share that all with the commissioners. Also in the Palisades, we've relocated the UROC, that's our forward operating base for operations and coordinating in collaboration with all the other city departments. It's in construction now, being relocated from Topanga State Beach to Marquez Elementary School adjacent property, and we anticipate that will open at the end of the month. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. A couple of items. LADWP was proud to co-host the winter solstice ceremony on Friday, December 19th. I know we were fortunate to have Commissioners Marks and I believe Commissioner KATZ attend. Thank you for going. That was together with the Fernandeño Tatavian Band of Mission Indians at the Chatsworth Nature Preserve, a real gem in our water system and a community resource. This annual tradition began in 2021. It's the 5th year of celebrating cultural heritage and environmental stewardship. We had about 250 attendees, including community members and tribal representatives and officials and guests. The event honors ancestral traditions while promoting environmental stewardship and sustainability education. Chatsworth Nature Preserve is home to more than 200 bird species, as well as amphibians, reptiles, and mammals, and it provided a very nice opportunity for public access on that day, and a beautiful day. It really highlights our commitment to protecting sensitive habitats and engaging the community in preserving this unique natural space together with our partners from the Band of Mission Indians. Next Monday, on January 19th, we will be proudly participating in the 41st annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Kingdom Day Parade in Los Angeles. The annual parade is organized to unite our city in celebration of freedom, equality, and community empowerment. Our Human Resources Outreach and Recruitment Services Division is spearheading our participation in the parade. We are hoping that you would be able to join us for that, as we have employees from our own staff. In addition, members of our National Society of Black Engineers, LADWP chapter, will be participating. Pleased to have family and friends together with our Ford Lightning EV truck and an EV bucket truck to demonstrate our commitment to inclusion and equity, and also to promote jobs here at the department. So we're looking forward to that and would welcome you as well. I would now like to introduce Zariah Oliver Griffin, our Chief Resiliency and Emergency Management Officer, to provide an update on the winter storm that we had just prior to Christmas, and also on our Palisades 1 year after report.
Good morning, Commissioners. As we all lived through the holiday storm, we all know that Los Angeles received a record rainfall on Christmas Eve in many areas, fueled by a severe atmospheric river, which added to the region's rain totals, as we heard from Anselmo, specifically on Christmas Day and early Friday. As a department, we decided to take a proactive approach, and we prepared to safely and quickly manage any of the forecasted impacts as a result of this severe atmospheric river, which was, according to the National Weather Service, unprecedented for our area this time of year. Despite the additional challenge of staffing during the Christmas Eve and Christmas holiday. Based on increasing risk reported by the National Weather Service, including heavy rainfall, along with a high potential for mudslides, and believe it or not, a tornado potentially touching ground, which it did. The Department Emergency Operations Center activated well in advance of the storm, prepared for cross-system operational coordination, real-time situational awareness monitoring, and impact management. Ultimately, I'm very happy to report that our infrastructure, both water and power, performed really well against the storm with minimal impacts to any area of our service territory. Any power and water system outages were successfully addressed, relying on existing personnel and resources and within our normal operational timelines. At peak, which was in the wee hours of December 24th, nearly 19,000 of our customers were affected by power outages, primarily the result of several inches of rainfall, fallen palm fronds, and other debris that came in contact with our power lines and equipment. I'm also happy to report that all power outages and power service was restored well within 48 hours. A tremendous thank you to all of our field personnel and responders who worked tirelessly in very challenging conditions of rain and wind, taking time away from their loved ones during a very special holiday season to ensure not only a safe but a very quick response to restore outages as quickly as possible. I'd also like to mention that this DOC activation culminated a very busy 2025 for our emergency response for the department, with a total of 7 DEOC activations for a total of 53 days of department-wide emergency response, ranging from wildfires, atmospheric rivers and storms, civil unrest, an extended water outage, and even a tsunami warning. So we had a little bit across the entire spectrum. I'm waiting for a volcano to happen, but let's keep that at bay for a while. But regardless, I just want to assure each and every one of you that the department as a whole is very well prepared for any emergency or natural disaster that we may face in 2026 or moving forward. Next, I'd like to move on to provide you an overview of our Palisades report. Last week, we passed a very sobering milestone for our city with the one-year anniversary of the start of the tragic wind-driven Palisades fire. Nothing, absolutely nothing can reverse this tragedy. But I assure you, we have spent the last year doing everything that we possibly can to help the Palisades community to rebuild and also help make Los Angeles more resilient. Last week, we published our report detailing all we have done over the past year to support our Palisades customers and the community as well. The report is a summary of all those efforts, which focuses on how LADWP led efforts and deployed resources early and quickly to support recovery for the Palisades community, the strengthening of and reliability of our water and power systems, the things that we are currently doing to protect our systems against ongoing climate threats, our advancement of partnerships to improve climate resiliency, and finally, leveraging all funding opportunity paths to recovery and resiliency. That report is available at ladwp.com/Palisades for any one of our customers or the public that would like to refer to it.
Before you go on, I just want to be clear on something, because if I was just a citizen at home listening, usually when we use the word rebuild, many people think of that as some financial aid or money that we make available. When you use the term rebuild, you were not referring to DWP helping in a financial way with individual homeowners, were you?
That is correct. Yes, we're referring to our rebuilding of our water and power infrastructure.
But I do want to add that with respect to our customers and providing that assistance, we did not bill for any water use for a significant period of months following because of the tragedy and the loss and the inability to actually accurately measure the amount of water that was used by customers whose homes were destroyed or whose customers whose homes were not destroyed. So that was a significant help. In addition to that, we've extended repayment plans for those customers, extended repayment plans, and also we're not doing any collections through at least June 30th of this year. So I want to make sure you know we're doing everything we can to assist them financially, even though it doesn't include direct financial support toward rebuilding homes.
And I'm very glad you restated that, because that is a very important point. I remember at the very beginning when DWP made that advisement. So thank you, Joe, for saying but I didn't want anyone just hearing the remarks thinking that somehow we were, in a sense, providing money for building. And I know that DWP has extended itself to the residents in any way that it can, to anything we can do that is a direct flow from us to save them, like you said, being billed for something, anything we can clear that is within our range to handle. So thank you for restating that. And thank you, and excuse me for interrupting you.
No, I appreciate you raising the clarification. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention and speak on behalf of the four executives, Dave, Anselmo, Joe, and I, that are very committed and working very closely with the Palisades community to ensure that, we meet and support their needs in a way that is relevant to them. So we are very committed to working with them so that they help us shape how we are going to proceed with our work in the Palisades. So it's becoming a true, genuine partnership. So a lot of times they may not like what we have to say, but the four of us are very committed to being transparent and providing the information when we have it, to the degree that we're able to provide it. So, okay, thank you. And that is the end of my report for today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarai. That's all I have today.
May I comment on the report, Commissioner Pinder?
Yes, briefly.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that this is our, first board meeting, and so soon after the one-year anniversary. Like many of you and many Angelinos, I had friends and family impacted by the fires in 2025, both the Palisades fire here in the city of Los Angeles and also the Eaton fire. And I know that many of our employees did as well. Some of our employees lost homes directly or were otherwise impacted by the fire. And I remember a year ago that some of those employees were at work the very next day, despite having lost their homes, and participating in helping the city in this time of crisis. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge really all of our staff and all of our employees who've been engaged in that time of crisis and since then. Your service is really inspiring and incredible, and I know President KATZ would often refer to DWP as first responders, and I want to echo that, and especially when it came to the 2025 fire. It's amazing to reflect back on this year and look at everything that this department has done, from restoring water at record speed, water service, to continuing to advocate for FEMA funding and working on the rebuild, providing a good source of interaction for the community to get all their questions answered at the UROC, and I'm glad to hear that movement is underway. So thank you for that. We don't get to plan on emergencies, so I also wanted to acknowledge Soraya and the whole team that was involved in the department EOC on Christmas, a holiday that I'm sure many would have liked to be celebrating with their families. And so to be activated in emergency operations, we really appreciated your eye on this storm and ensuring that power and water were restored quickly. Lastly, I just want to note that although the state is, for the first time in many years, out of a drought for the moment, that with climate change, we've really seen a whiplash. So we know that we're going to have these very wet years, and then we're going to have these very dry years. And so I want to encourage all Angelinos to keep your eye on water conservation. Just because we're out of a drought for the moment doesn't mean California doesn't have serious water supply challenges ahead. So, please continue to take advantage of the now increasing turf replacement program, the LEAP program for lower income families to have free landscape replacement, and other water saving measures. It's a big deal that DWP has transitioned away from coal. So thank you for mentioning that, Dave, and we will continue to push forward towards clean energy and all the different ways that we can address climate change and also climate resiliency. So thank you very much for these reports today.
Thank you. I wish I had included this under my general remarks, but I'm going to put it in right now before I move to the ratepayer, if you will allow me. We have had general counsel here at all times. You often probably don't pay any attention, but we have someone who is, before we come to a meeting, things have been screened in a legal way so that we do not inadvertently misstep or make a legal decision or action that could have repercussions. So always at the end of our circle, we have our general counsel for the Department of Water and Power Board of Commissioners with us. DWP has its own legal section, not in this building, but in another building. In fact, we used to be, when I was here, on the 15th floor, then they moved us to another floor, and eventually they moved the whole legal team out of this building. But there are lawyers that are dedicated just to LADWP who are city employees. And those people are here to advise on the contracts, they're to advise the attorneys, the commissioners, on what we're doing. And so Ben Chapman kind of got away before many of you who are regulars here or who tune in regularly was acknowledged as fully as he could have been. But someone has stepped in because the city attorney's office has very capable attorneys. People tend to take people who are government employees for granted. We're all of the DWP people are government employees, and they're keeping the lights on and the water flowing. So we don't want to put people in little boxes and little places and diminish what they do in their life for all of us. So with that said, I don't want to introduce you myself, Ms. Flores, but I would love for you to tell us not only your name, what you do, and how you assist the commission. Will you do that, please? Ms. Flores.
Certainly. Thank you for the nice introduction of our whole office, Office of City Attorney. I am the Chief Deputy City Attorney, and I'm filling in an interim role as General Counsel for DWP, given how much is going on here, and the unexpected retirement of the former General Counsel, Ben Chapman. I'm here, and our whole office is here to provide legal support and guidance. You can call upon us at any time, and we're happy to help out. I am a 23-year veteran of the City Attorney's Office. I started my career in big law, was a trial lawyer, and then came over to the city. It's been the best legal decision I ever made. It's been a great job. I was born in LA. Both parents were city employees. So this is my mission in life, to make sure that the city prospers and conducts its business legally and effectively. We want to make sure, the whole office of the city attorney wants to make sure that our clients meet their goals, and we're here to help you do that. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you just on the spot, because I didn't tell you I would do that. I sat there and I looked, and I know. Now, she sounded all nice and sweet when she said that. That lady is a hand slapper, and she will get, I mean, they make you course correct very quickly. It's not all smiles. And many times we retire from you and we go into closed session, and those are matters that the charter mandates that we only talk off record with our attorney. We list those cases that are in litigation. You can go and look them up yourselves, but we do not discuss them in front of you. But when we go into closed session, we have the city attorney's office there. We are a check and balance. We comment on the cases that they have. How much risk do we have if we go forward with a matter? So this is, I want you to really get the sense that this is not just a stagnant thing here. I noticed, and it was new to me, DWP people call everybody by their first name. So it seems informal. It seems like everybody is, brother, sister, lovey-dovey. But people here are checkmates of each other. And while they try to do it with a smile, they do hold people to follow what is correct. And that goes for not only just the commissioners, it goes for people here who have title. Underneath them, they have to keep those people in the right line, but they still allow a flow of information. So I'm moved to say all of this today because I happen to have the mic and I'm able to say it today. But it's just dawning on me, how involved this is. And maybe that's even why we end up with a shift of people. It's a lot to ask, even of people who are getting paid. And I want to remind you, we're not getting paid. And there are people who are, and we're used to making big decisions ourselves. I know my colleagues here, they still work. I happen to be retired. But be that as it may, if we're away from whatever we're doing, our work, our family, etc., we all are committed to this. And the commissioners, we wouldn't want to work here, wrong word, we wouldn't want to volunteer here if we did not feel that our time was appreciated. But people keep us in check too. Mm-hmm. Commissioner Pinder, you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't do that. So we follow those. And I wanted you to know it starts with the city attorney's office that is located in the City Hall East Building, and it is here with our council as well. So, and I don't know even if our two new commissioners, who I'll probably never say this again, you better watch your toes because these people aren't playing. All right?
And Commissioner Pinder, I just have to say, because you are always so humble with your own background, Commissioner Pinder is speaking from experience. So she has 30 years of service in the city attorney's office and 20 of those serving LADWP. So we're very lucky to have all of your expertise on the commission as an extra set of legal eyes and everything that you bring. So thank you for that, Wilma.
You're very kind. Thank you. Now, the next item, and this is another person and another agency that keeps us on our toes, and that is our ratepayer. That's item G on the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Pinder. Good morning, and welcome, Commissioner Marks, Commissioner TRAN. It's nice to see you here in your first meeting after having been confirmed. My name is Tim O'Connor. I'm the ratepayer advocate. I would like to recognize that I'm joined with me today by another member of my team, Joseph, or Joe Coe. Joe, if you might stand up. Joe is a leader in our office focused on data analysis, customer program analysis, and affordability. Joe brings a long line of experience in examination of these issues. On behalf of ratepayers, he'll be working with me and my team on upcoming analysis, which you'll be seeing, as well as a go-forward basis in support of our analysis on filed items. I'd like to direct your attention, as well as members of the public, to written comments that we filed with the Commission on file items 8, 13, 16, and 17. Those were items for approval, as well as file items 7 and 8. You should have a copy of our written comments before you. In addition, OPA reviewed all items submitted to the board via the public website and met with staff on items for approval today before you on 5, 6, 7, 9, 15, 18, and 23. We're not providing written comments on those, but we have evaluated the information associated with those, as well as all file items that have been submitted to the commission leadership, to the board. I would like to say that in meeting with staff on all of these items, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a level of gratitude and appreciation for the openness of and the ongoing openness of teams from the CFO's office, from the power system, from the water system, from the administrator office, from customer service that helps us do our jobs of evaluating these items that come before you, providing analysis and comments on areas that we identify maybe are needed areas of improvement, areas for additional analysis, and just additional areas for consideration. I will bring forward 3 items today that I want to raise to your attention. The first is related to OPA's broad mission. We remain committed to affordability, to transparency, and to accountability on community impact from the department. And in support of this, OPA recently released several items for public evaluation in areas which are relevant to the board today. One of those is a series of public-facing materials on water and power rate design, as well as consumer utility bill design to provide explanation to the general public for how water and power rates are designed and how to interpret their utility bills. We have received a lot of comments on these. This material was not present in the public before. We would encourage you to review that. It is on our publicly facing website, and we will be planning additional information for transparency and community advising going forward. The second area that I would like to raise your attention on is some upcoming listening sessions that the Office of Public Accountability, the ratepayer advocate, will be holding in the community to start to talk to individual representatives of community groups, to impacted individuals, to people that receive utility bills every month, to really start to listen to them about what it means when people receive their utility bill. How do they interpret affordability? Where is the direction of travel as it relates to community impact? We have 3 planned in the upcoming weeks. One is on January 28th, another is on February 5th, and the final one is on February 11th. These will have bilingual access
and the one on January 28th we'll be holding at the Boys and Girls Club of the San Fernando Valley. On February 5th, we'll be holding at First AME Church, and the one on February 11th we'll be holding at the Dolores Mission Church. I have information here, both in Spanish and English, for anybody here in the audience, or information can be found on our website that talks about these, and we would encourage participation from any members of the public that would like to participate. One item I would like to elevate from our filed comments is related to item 17, which you've heard comments today, and this is related to the contract approval for vegetation management. While OPA has no comments on or concerns about the approval of these contracts, we'd like to elevate two items. One is from the discussion we heard earlier today, just to make sure that the board has our points on this, is that we find it encouraging that there are two contracts that are being offered today. We have seen in the past where there is a single vendor that is responsible for managing critical utility services and infrastructure services. The opportunity to make sure that there's two vendors that are able to perform this critical work is valuable and has a value to ratepayers in and of itself. Second is we have requested information about the green waste disposal practices associated with these contracts. While OPA doesn't generally get into the minutia of contracts, we do look at both total cost and effectiveness and city policy that may be espoused within the approval of individual contracts. We've seen and we've requested information on where the green waste from these contractors will be deposited. The information that we've received is that there is, at present, not a memo of agreement or memo of understanding between the department and other city services such as sanitation to use city facilities for the disposal of this green waste. That has required the development of an improvised process, which we have not received information on, and we would respectfully recommend that the board ask this question either in contract review period or contemporaneous with the approval to make sure that the department's contractors are fulfilling the spirit of the SB 1383 law, which focuses on deposition of green waste in composting facilities. We've seen many different ads, Facebook posts, and others where people are getting green waste bins delivered to their houses by the dozens. And we want to make sure that the department and its contractors, when you have such a large amount of green waste, is also fulfilling those obligations. I would also like to call your attention to file items 7, 8, and 9. These are in the reports. Yes.
Let's stop one moment with this green waste. Is there anyone here that falls under their department, or Pam, was that you?
Be under power. So the green waste, actually, I did want to address that. I will now say, as a board member, to the department to please follow up on that power system. However, I would note that there is complexity around the disposal of green waste, and I know from dealing with other issues with sanitation and fire clearance that there are certain trees, palm trees that cannot go to our compost facilities. So there's a little bit of complexity there, and I would encourage the department to work closely with LA Sanitation to ensure that our waste disposal is meeting city policy requirements, but also not impeding these already impacted facilities that are dealing with a lot of increased green waste from residential and other areas. So it will require some important department-to-department coordination. So please work closely with LA Sanitation and then report back to us on that. Thank you.
Will do. Yes, this is pretty important, this green waste matter. And what Senate bill was that? That was
SB 1383, which is a bill that really focuses on climate change to reduce emissions associated with the decomposition of waste, which sets new standards for municipal government to handle those organics.
Assuming it's not too thick, would you make sure that we actually get that language for ourselves, that the commission gets that particular language?
Yes, of course. And I'm sure the department is well aware. We just have not received the information in the time that was allotted to provide analysis before the board today.
All right, thank you very much for that.
The final item I would like to elevate is regarding items 7, 8, and 9. These are in the reports section that have been, item K, that have been distributed. We provided written comments on an observation associated with the Renewable Portfolio Standard and Clean Energy Resources Planning monthly documents from July to October. We just like to call attention to the board that while the department is doing some fantastic work to continue to increase the amount of clean energy resources, the renewable energy that's coming to the system in support of the LA 100 power system plan, improving and managing towards safe, reliable, affordable, and clean energy, there is an item there that which continues to track as underperformance, and that is in the transportation electrification track. We know the department is doing a lot in this area. We have yet to see an EV or a transportation electrification integrated strategy for the department. We believe that this is an area where the department really needs to integrate transportation electrification throughout the power system priorities. We understand they are, but we would recommend that the board either request a formal strategy or a briefing on the strategies for meeting those long-term deadlines on electrification of transportation. We haven't really seen a robust conversation in the public on this yet. Finally, on item number 9, we have reported on filed items, we have reported in the past that we've evaluated the Elysian Reservoir Community Parks Enhancement Fund. Because Commissioner Marsh, Commissioner Trent, you are new, just a brief recap. This is roughly a 10-year-old, maybe even longer, grant process, and we do see a line of sight to concluding this work, and we've reviewed the report. I believe in the next 2 to 3 years, the funding will be used up by the completion of projects, so we're encouraged, of course, by that. If you were to look back at this fund, you would see that it is a very long process. I don't think grants normally sit out there for a decade or more, and we would encourage, of course, the department to continue to work to make sure that this grant enhancement fund is either concluded or that there is a review to make sure that the department gets the money back. And with that, I'll close my comments and open up for any discussion across the dais.
Any commissioner have a response or comment, or your hand stinging from being slapped?
I mean, I would just thank you, as always, for your insightful comments and analysis, and I agree on the need for digging in further into electrification and vehicle electrification. I know that the department is working on a number of important initiatives there, including the EV hubs that will serve areas where people do not have private charging. And so we'll work with the department on the timing, but I do think a report to the board on that topic would be warranted at a later date, and we'll discuss that with the staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now the part that I really need the commission's secretary to help me get through as we're moving on to voluminous things that we have read ourselves as individually as commissioners. We do this before every meeting, sometime over a several-day period. Some of us come in extra early on the board day if we haven't gotten through everything to read, because when we vote, we're trying to vote with knowledge. And we can't discuss it with each other before we actually come out here with you. We're not discussing what we're reading as a group, because then we'd be, again, this Brown Act. But what we each have done is read these things. Sometime we may have even conferred with another engineer or something. We can ask questions. We're not bound that we couldn't say, hey, I'm in the middle of reading this particular contract. We could ask right then and there. But it's obviously easier for us to ask in here. So that often you'll hear that we pull something and we say, I want to hear more on that. Well, it doesn't mean we have to hear it right now. We might want to hear it next time. But there are some things that we have read and we feel that as a group, we can simply vote on those because we feel we have the knowledge to do that. So with that in mind, there are things that I'm going to ask the commissioners, can we get when I say block vote, that means that you have read it, that you feel that you are ready to approve that particular matter. And then there are some that you may want more information on that have to be, quote, pulled. And that is the point we're at now. You hear us flipping around through our papers.
Would you like me
Commission Secretary, will you please assist me with the pulled items and the ones that I'm going to call for our group?
Yes.
That they can block vote. I know there are a couple of things that we do have to set aside. For example, I will be recusing myself on 013 on that matter. And at that time, I would ask Commissioner KATZ, would she stand in when that voting is taken care of? I believe one of the commissioners had an issue or wanted more information or discussion with 08 and with 06.
No. As previously discussed, item 06 will be pulled or called special per Commissioner TRAN. Item 07, I believe, was called special by Commissioner TRAN. And 013, you will recuse. Is it 08? Correction, 08 as opposed to 07. And 013, Commissioner TRAN has questions on, as well as the recusal of Commissioner Pinder.
All right.
Okay. Would you like me to make a motion then?
Yes, may I have then a motion as to all of the items that have not been identified as pulled and/or the recusal?
Thank you. So motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and then 9 through 12, and 14 through 23.
I second.
It has been moved and second. May I have a call for the final vote on that, please?
Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
Commissioner Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner TRAN?
Aye.
4 ayes. Motion adopted.
All right. So since there's only one matter that has to have the recusal, and it's me, I would propose that I step out now because then I want to be back for the other two.
Great, thank you. All right, and I believe you said, Commissioner TRAN, did you have questions about this item as well? Did you want a presentation or you just had questions?
I can go with the one that I refused from.
This is the same one. Yeah, thank you.
We'll wait till, just a quick question on the report. I think it's critically important that we do modernize. Are we good?
Oh, yeah, let's let everyone clear the room for a moment so I can hear you. Okay. All right, so who is the right staff member to answer questions on item 13? Do we have someone here who can come forward?
Should be,
Come on up. Thanks. Okay, if we could close the doors in the back and avoid some noise, and Commissioner TRAN, if you could repeat your question, please.
Thank you. Just a quick question on this item. Like as Commissioner Marks said, it's drinking from a fire hose, but it's become very apparent that modernization of our systems to service our customers, to increase our resources to serve the citizens and keep this utility running. It's critically important, and the AMI system is something that we're just reaching the standards of other utilities and also will be better than those utilities in the future. Just a quick question on this. It's a 3-year contract. Is that for my own education in terms of possibly how things work here or how you approach this contract? Why is it only 3 years? Where are we looking to in terms of timeline and implementing these systems? And 3 years thereafter, we're going to renew this contract, or how is that going to be set up?
So thank you for your question. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andrew Hurd. I'm an Assistant Director of Information Systems with our Information Technology Services Division. My group handles the contract administration over these Oracle licenses and subscriptions. But I believe your question seems to have a flavor about our automated or advanced metering infrastructure, but generally it's regarding why it's only 3 years. So as our previous contract expired, we were doing individual purchases directly with Oracle, which weren't efficient, take a lot of internal administrative time to actually process. So we were looking to do something in the competitive arena, but one of the options that the city charter and admin code allow us to do is to do what is known as a cooperative purchasing agreement, or in layman's terms, they call it a piggyback. And as we looked at the landscape of other governmental entities that had engaged in a contract with the Oracle resellers, we found that the City of Los Angeles, our sister agency, of course, had entered into a cooperative purchasing agreement with Maricopa County with Mythix as the Oracle reseller. Of course, Arizona had done a competitive process. The city reviewed that competition. So we're basically piggybacking off of those competitive processes. So this should be interpreted as a competitive process in a way, because we're just kind of borrowing the competition done by others. But the reason it's 3 years is because that's when that current contract that Maricopa County has expires. But I think it leads to a broader question, what's next? What are we going to do next? And what we would like to do during this 3-year period is take a look at partnering with the City of Los Angeles, as well as the other proprietary agencies, Los Angeles World Airports, the Port of Los Angeles, us, of course, being Water and Power, to see if we can come together as an entire City of Los Angeles family and negotiate something, in this arena. We could potentially do another cooperative purchasing agreement, or go out and do a competitive process on our own, but as a city family, kind of joining our needs together and getting the prices that come from having that volume.
Thank you. And just a quick question from a city process standpoint. If we were to engage a new RFP within 3 years, what's the estimated timeline for us to actually go through the process and bid it out and award?
Yeah, this would be what we call on the purchasing side an invitation for bid, because it really does boil down to just price. It's not a heavy footprint on capability, because these resellers at the end of the day are just offering what in effect is a material to us. So it would be an invitation for bid process that we would do. But that process would take probably 6 to 9 months. Part of the difficulty for us this time around, which was why it was also beneficial for us to piggyback off of what the city has done, is that actually preparing the artifacts to go out with the invitation for bid actually does require a lot of expertise in the area of the nuances of Oracle licensing. And while we've certainly learned a lot in partnering with the city and understanding what Maricopa County did, we also are going to need time internally to kind of build that expertise about how you prepare your terms and your conditions, as well as what you're looking for. So as we work with Mythix over the next 3 years, we anticipate getting a lot of that subject matter knowledge, so that if we decide as an entity and partnering with hopefully the broader city family, we will have learned what it means to actually prepare those purchasing artifacts in a way that speaks from authority, speaks from experience, so that we know what lessons that we need to learn. We can certainly leverage assistance from the ratepayer advocate and others to help us kind of work through, those aspects. But we expect to have that subject matter expertise at that time.
Great, thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Could I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
All right, excellent. Can you take the vote, please, Shante?
Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
Commissioner Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Tran?
Aye.
3 ayes, motion adopted.
Thank you.
It's pretty straightforward.
Get him a permanent seat.
Thank you. So the next item for our discussion will be number 6, and followed by 8. Commissioner,
Yes. Item 6, we have David Jaco, who's the Executive Director of the Office of Distributed Energy Solutions, to present. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Sam Rafakro. I'm the Interim Manager of DER Programs and Projects. I'm joined today by Mr. David Jaco, our Executive Director, and Ms. Stephanie Macarito, the Supervisor of the group that's managing these two ordinances. So we're happy to present first, take questions later, whatever the Commission prefers.
how do you want to proceed with this, Commissioner?
Yeah,
Tran?
I'm happy to just jump into the questions right now. Just can you give me just some background information of the origin of this project? What kind of impact it potentially has as a pilot project, how it could scale, and then lastly, just the timelines of awarding implementation until it comes online.
Yeah, I can get it started and others can join to add some color. So this is for the Encino Reservoir Floating Solar Project. We've worked very closely with power system planning and identified projects that can help support their LA 100 plan and as it pertains to procuring 100% renewable resources by 2035. So to that extent, we've been hard at work in identifying where we can deploy local solar energy storage and EV chargers. So that came in a few different colors. Some of them were locally installed carport systems, rooftop systems, and then the idea came up of a floating solar project, which has been done in many countries, including some areas here in California, I think the Sonoma district. So we worked with the power system to come up with some potential candidates, and the Encino Reservoir was our top candidate because it's not drinkable. The water is not drinkable, and to our understanding, they use it for emergency response. So we worked very closely with LA Fire as well, right? Last year, as we all recall, they used the super scoopers to gather water for fire response, and so we're very tightly coordinated with them, and they've all given us approval that this won't affect their operations. So that gives you a high-level overview, and you mentioned something about the timeline. If this ordinance goes through, and I should mention, this is just an ordinance. This is we won't be approving any contracts today. No dollars will be spent today. This will only allow us to issue an RFP in order to procure the services. And if that happens, we think that it'll take anywhere from 4 to 8 months to fully install once outside labor is contracted and the project begins. And the last thing I'll mention is we're also working very closely with the local community, the local Encino community, to get feedback and to present our solution.
And then before awarding, the RFP will take how long, do you think?
So we've been working on the RFP materials in the interim. Once we start working with supply chain services, we hope it'll be fully awarded in 6 to 8 months.
Great. Thank you.
Is that date, originally, you had the language in here that carbon neutral mandate is 2030, then I heard you mention 2035. Are these dates even still realistic?
We're working towards meeting the dates. 2035.
Is it realistic?
Realistic. I think Mr. Hansen can better answer that question. I think that based on what we've been asked to do as a group, and that is to procure local solar in the amount of over 200 megawatts, we can do it with the two ordinances that we have before you today. So we can do our job to meet those mandates. But as an overall power system, overall planning system, I can't answer that.
Thank you.
I have a question.
That's a question here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have a question on the RFP scope. The EPC part, I understand. There's a reference to maintenance and then also to training DWP personnel in order for us to maintain both the floating solar facilities and the BESS. Is this are you contemplating a longer-term maintenance contract with the same supplier under the EPC contract, or where's that crossover between end of construction and commissioning, extended service or maintenance or warranty contracts, and long-term O&M, which could be done internally, I assume?
Right. I'll get it started, and maybe Stephanie can add some color. So I believe we're currently contemplating 5 years of maintenance, and the purpose of that is our crews really, they don't have the experience maintaining a system like this, right? So we want them to not only maintain it for 5 years, but to also show us how to maintain it. And if they end up needing to procure the battery part of this, then that'll fall into that scope as well. Again, the whole intention, and we've worked with our local 18, or IBW local 18, is that our crews will be able to maintain the system going forward. So after the 5 years, it'll be passed on to them. Anything else?
Yeah, I think you summarized it. The maintenance of this is very, very niche and specific, being that this is on a floating island. And so getting our staff and making sure that we can hire folks who are qualified to do that is, we need a training period to do that as well.
And is there flexibility contemplating the RFP as far as, best location and that interface? Are you looking for potential bidders to provide some creativity, or is it going to be very prescriptive?
We have the site mapped out in the presentation, if you'd like to see that, where we show the differentiation between where the firefighters access the reservoir for dipping and where the floating solar panels would be. That's fairly coded, fairly hard-coded, specifically because of the need for the reservoir to remain fully available for firefighting at all times. They are quite distant from each other within the reservoir, and the fire department has assured us that they don't have concerns about the location we're looking at.
And it's only, if I remember correctly, about 10% of the reservoir surface area, correct?
Yes, it is. And it's tucked in an inlet that would not be suitable for super scoopers.
Good. Thank you.
Commissioner Pinder, may I offer a comment?
Yes.
Thank you. OPA, having met with the team at the department, received this presentation and identified one area. When you think about floating solar, there's a lot of benefits that can occur, such as improved efficiency of the panels themselves because of cooling that's associated with the underlying water. Calling this a pilot is also important insofar as, this portends, future projects. And Commissioner Tran, you talked about scale. I would suggest that there are many different sites across the region that are suitable for local solar, and some of those will probably be coming before the board soon, and they're going to have different cost profiles. I would only ask the team to talk about the cost profile of this type of project compared to other types of projects, because of course we see in very significant projects the change in tax credits and tariffs is changing the cost profile, and would just ask if the team could talk briefly about the price per kilowatt or what you would expect ratepayers would experience in terms of competitiveness of this type of energy versus others.
Mm-hmm. Well, at a high level, and I'll turn it over to the team here. So the loss of the tax credits impact these projects, whether they're floating solar or ground mount or roof mount, in any case, and the storage the same way. So that's pretty much a wash between installation type setups. Now, specific to this project, I know we've run analyses to estimate the 24 million or so we're pricing out. And what would we respond on that?
Yeah, so the 24 million or so, that covers not only the solar, but also the energy storage and the small ground mount system that's nearby. I don't know the exact dollar per kilowatt for the floating solar piece, but when we did the analysis, the team reported to me that it was very comparable to a carport solar system, which we have all over the city.
Yeah, and I would also mention, this is, again, we don't have any bids yet. So this is to get approval from the city council to issue a 10-year RFP.
Right, yeah.
So that's where we'll really get specifics in terms of bids, multiple bids with these components and the labor priced out specifically. So it's pretty ballpark at this point.
Yes, thank you. Just in closing, would suggest that we have an all of the above strategy in terms of finding opportunities for new emissions-free generation, load balancing, things that can reduce the need for plants like the Scattergood natural gas generating facility. And these types of projects we see being both in the ratepayer best interest, but in the ability of the department to move forward to accommodate increased load growth we suggest is coming in the years ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and if I can just add to Mr. O'Connor's comment here, you know, us being DWP, the joint departments of water and power, this is one of these really unique projects where we have that opportunity to leverage all of these reservoirs, especially non-potable areas. So this being the first pilot project is really unique, but also when we're looking at facilities within the city of LA and local, how do we impact our local grid? This is an important project where we can deploy this much, much faster than traditional solar rooftop carport, ground mount. So when we're looking at cost comparisons and having almost identical or less cost compared to what we can do at other facilities, but in a much, much faster deployment, I just would like, you know, to say that piece so that that's taken into consideration as well.
Thank you. I think given the urgency of our targets and the scope of what we have ahead of us, that speed matters. So this is an exciting project. I just want to call your attention, and I'll send you an email with a link, but there was a recent peer-reviewed study that modeled floating solar in terms of potential environmental impact, which of course is also very important to the department. And they did find significant differential in turn that is related to the amount of coverage. And so I just want to make sure that study is informative as we're thinking about balancing all of these things in planning these projects. Of course, you know, fire use of reservoirs is important, but also the environmental impact. So I'll send that study along and really looking forward to the outcome of this pilot. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you for adding that too. You really stay up on this, and I know the department appreciates it very much. Right. Is there any other unreadiness with this question? Otherwise, I'm going to call for a vote on it.
I move that we approve this item.
Second?
Item 6, to be specific.
Item 6, yeah.
Item 6, yes.
May I call the roll, please? Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
Commissioner Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner TRAN?
Aye.
4 ayes, motion adopted.
And I thank you, Commissioner TRAN, on your very first day that proves that people are reading these things before we come out here. And we appreciate you digging in. And I particularly appreciate the ratepayer advocate who obviously has gone and dug in even further and able to call for that additional information being on the record. Thank you very much, both of you. Now, there's also moving on then to number 8. No, you're still.
This will be the same group that will be responding to number 8.
Darn, I thought we were rid of them. All right, same group, number 8. Yeah, they were too charming and too good. I thought we had someone else to beat up on. All right, number 8, please.
Just same in terms of just questions for now. And this general item, are there currently projects in mind that you will be pursuing under this ordinance? This is my first question. I have a second question.
So we have a lot of flexibility with this. A few years back, we approved 3 MOUs with our sister departments, the Department of GSD, that's General Services Department, LA Zoo, and Recreation and Parks, those 3 departments. And those MOUs really opened the door for us to install not only on our own facilities, but their facilities and the projects will be front of the meter, and they allow us to install energy storage, solar, and EV chargers on their properties. So do we have anything in mind? Not particularly. We're still evaluating how many of the facilities we'll install the DERs on and to what scale. But we think in the ordinance we requested, I think it was 500 commercial level facilities. And these MOUs unlocked, I think, over 1,000 facilities that we can choose from. So we're really going to pick the best ones, the ones that have the most rooftop area, the ones with the most adequate roofing, biggest parking lots, et cetera.
And just to add to what Samar mentioned, so it is over 1,500 sites that these MOUs unlock that we can tap into for cooling centers, first responders, to build microgrid systems to make our city more resilient. And with those 1,500, we actually have done a preliminary. So we have ruled out, there's so many that we rank as a good site versus maybe like a B site that needs a little bit more work before we can get to it. So we don't have, maybe like every single, ranked out, because that's something that we're looking to accomplish with this RFP, but we have done preliminary screenings.
And I think I know where you're getting at, right? Identifying those facilities is going to take a long time. So the way that we're writing the RFP is in such a way that there's a bank of vendors who are approved. And what we're thinking of doing is issuing a handful of projects at a time, getting the best bid, and first identifying, then issuing it, and seeing where the project costs are most efficient. So I think that'll shorten the timeline a lot.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Certainly.
Mr. Tran? There's this trade-off, right, between the flexibility of doing lots of little ones with an approved bank of vendors and economies of scale, if they can do them all at once. How are you addressing that?
So there's, based on our research, issuing 100 facilities is typically too much for them to bite off at once. So we're trying to find the sweet spot. We're going to work with our vendors, and we're going to find a sweet spot. We think it'll be anywhere between 5 and 10 facilities at a time, but they also need to, they also need these projects to be bankable, and that means they have to procure materials ahead of time in bulk, so their economies of scales go down.
Mm-hmm. And we have, I'm sorry.
Please go ahead.
We have some really good lessons learned from having done one of these projects internally already ourselves, Green Meadows, which Stephanie here has personally led up. So we're incorporating the lessons learned from that project. Green Meadows in South LA, it's solar, storage, EV chargers, and lots of complexities with that, microgrid, I believe, and so those lessons learned feed into how we'll be issuing and managing this much larger initiative.
Right. By the way, I think this is a terrific idea. I did have one other related question. I don't know if you wanted to ask.
I just wanted to also say, to control costs, we are going to be having a bench. So this is going to be, there's going to be like possibly up to 4 vendors. So every single project that we do for these kinds of community resiliency projects will be bid against these vendors. So it maintains that cost competitiveness.
Right. And for the RFP, I know you mentioned solar PV, you mentioned energy storage, EV charging, and the microgrids. Especially with respect to fleets and EV vehicles that are, city-owned, whether it's DWP or other departments, when the technology allows for bidirectional charging, is that going to be incorporated into this as well?
It's certainly a possibility, right? We've issued programs in the past, commercial energy storage to grid, which unlocked V2G, and we're learning a lot from that program, right? All the uptake and all the complaints that the vendors have. So it's very open-ended. We can, the first year we issue this RFP, we can have certain specifications, and the next year when V2G matures more and the costs come down and it makes more sense, we can change the scope in order for the energy the EV chargers to be bidirectional. So that's really important for us too.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a couple more questions. In terms of equity and looking at the city of Los Angeles, and we had to deal a lot with this at Rex and Parks, what kind of weight do you give, or how do you analyze underserved communities? I'm talking about economically underserved in terms of how you roll this out. You mentioned South LA, and we're very glad to hear that. Do you have this lens or kind of filter when you look at how you pick what projects and where?
We do look at I think it's SB 535 that has a map of the disadvantaged communities. Our goal is going to be to deploy the best possible sites for our grid operators to use and for them to utilize and connect to our DER management system, and in such a way that mostly prioritizes the distribution system. That's going to be our primary impetus, but we do have the ability to filter out for projects within DACs.
Yeah, and I would also add that the workforce development component of this is that all this work will be conducted under a PLA, Project Labor Agreement. So it'll all be local trades work. For the duration of the contracts, it'll be IBW Local 11 and any associated, other trades that are part of the PLA. And then as our forces take on, and we'll own these assets for the duration. And then as our folks take on the maintenance and operations, of course, it'll be DWP staff and folks. So it's a little bit less geographically focused from a DAC or equity standpoint. Doesn't mean we won't be doing that and we can't do that. We will do that. But given the focus on distribution system balancing, that's probably the first priority locationally. Second priority will absolutely be an equitable spread across the city location geographically. But the big play is building the opportunity for the local trades labor force through Local 11.
Yeah, I have a quick question, and I hope I'm still at the relevant place. You did have language that said at the moment LADWP has insufficient department personnel available. That is a line in there, correct? I mean, were we ever going to have such personnel, or is it kind of a pie in the sky
No,
thing?
it's absolutely we will, because that'll be our commitment to Local 18 for them to approve these contracts when we get to this stage. Local 18 won't issue us a notice of compliance for these contracts when we're ready to bring them to board if we don't have a staffing plan and basically an LOA that we commit to staff up to take these over.
Because that's a very important thing for some ongoing. I thought, am I reading that right? At the moment, LADWP has insufficient department personnel available to accelerate blah-de-blah-de-blah.
Yeah.
So there is a plan to have that personnel available.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that plan's in the works, right? There's a group called the Emerging Technologies Group, which is rapidly expanding personnel to support these functions. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, that commitment will absolutely be part of the contract package that we bring to board in a year or so.
Right. Well, that was my concern and question about it. Any other further discussion on this number 8?
One last question. If I didn't read, and by the way, if you need to pass on this answer, if you can. If I didn't read mistakenly, this is funded by the federal government, by DOE, correct?
No.
That might have been left in there prior to, I believe the Trump administration canceled all of the DOE funding that was awarded to applicants through the GRIP grant in 2023. So those are billions of dollars that are no longer a part of the play.
Okay, so this will be a self-funded program by DWP.
That's correct.
Great, thank you. That's all I have.
Boy. You're not taking any prisoners, are you? Federal funding. You're really bringing up something. Okay. All right. Good. So with that full discussion, and we thank you for it, I would like to call for a vote.
Motion to approve item 8.
I second.
Been moved and seconded.
May I call the roll? Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
Commissioner Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner TRAN?
Aye.
4 ayes, motion adopted.
So we have concluded with the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, this is a lengthy part for the new commissioners. This is when management usually makes their reports. But I do want to go to, I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to skip ahead to L, which is the minutes. Am I correct, Council, that we will be able to approve that? with those minutes, although.
I assume we
these
had to
are-
abstain since, as new members,
Well,
correct?
If the new members were to abstain, there wouldn't be enough
we
votes
wouldn't have
to
quorum.
adopt the minutes. So we believe that you can approve the minutes on your understanding.
Only two commissioners were
Yes,
present.
that
Yeah.
they were accurately reflective of the tape-recorded, videotaped meeting.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes,
Okay.
so I had already inquired, since I knew you weren't here for that meeting, but it's the understanding, and I'm just restating what I thought I heard, that you are having read those minutes, and the two of us who were involved, if we agree and we feel that it's cogent and correct, that you in fact could vote if you found that those meeting minutes were correct. So I wanted to jump ahead if we were in fact going to take a vote on that. Is there any unreadiness on this?
No, sounds good to me. Motion to approve the minutes of the November, I believe, 18th meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
Commissioner Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner TRAN?
Aye.
4 ayes, motion adopted.
All right. We're at the point in our agenda that we are now ready for our management report. And I think it's just one in this case. Are they in the audience? Management report?
Yes. Let's call up Mr. Mike Treweek and Mr. Don Cox to review storm preparations. Mr. Mike Treweek is the Director of Power Transmission and Distribution and also a Journey lineman by trade. Mr. Don Cox is the Assistant Director of Power Construction and Maintenance, an electrical mechanic, substation electrician by trade. And take it away, gentlemen.
All righty.
Now, gentlemen, before you take it away, since we are somewhat familiar with this, just go through it fast, get the main points.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, since we've got introductions out of the way, this, what you see in front of you is a quick overview of our 5 phases or steps for our storm preparation. We'll go over these in the next few slides. All right. So planning, we start way ahead of the storm season. This entails completing any open cable jobs or in the underground distribution system. And if that's not possible, we'll ensure that the substructure gets inspected and pumped of water prior to the storm season. We prioritize our system and cable replacement jobs for system reliability. Our partners at PCM are proactive in inspecting various stations based on historical data and monitoring equipment. Okay, next slide. So as a director of PTD, I schedule and lead the pre-storm team meetings. We assemble the directors of our partner power groups, which includes Advanced Technologies, ATI, PCM, of course, PSO, Office of Emergency Management, our call center, and PR, and our supply chain folks. Okay, I'll generally share a snapshot of the National Weather Service and pending storm details so we all know what to expect. I'll ask the power groups to provide a duty roster of their personnel that will be on shift and available for my electric trouble teams to be able to connect with if needed. Also, these duty rosters are provided to the Office of Emergency Management and will be used in case we need to open the PDOC, which is the Power Distribution Operations Command. Should our customer outages grow to a number that our field personnel are getting stretched thin. The PDOC often streamlines communication. Next slide. Okay, the PTD storm response includes holding over our construction crews and having crews start at midnight. This complements our already 24/7, 365 trouble crews, right? 365 days. We have guys and gals on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, we even activate some of our smaller sections, street lighting and transmission crews to further complement restoration efforts. At times, we've even called out our pole spotter groups. These are senior level single-man crews that will pre-field larger jobs so the crew knows what they're getting into before arrival. We have even gotten our special projects engineering teams out to our electric trouble dispatch center to assist in the dispatching process. Okay, and PCM will activate their MCC, which is the Maintenance Control Center, and they'll put crews on their 5x5 crew plan, and what that means is that they have personnel in place where they're needed. Okay, moving on. So our restoration approach is twofold. It starts, number one, with public safety, then outage numbers. Our crews will always make sure that the incident scene or area is safe for the public and themselves. That could mean having the area shut off remotely by our Energy Control Center, or ECC, or by having first responders of PD or FD stand by the scene while we energize the area in the field. Okay, pictures below. You can see the left one pulled down due to a tree. Far right, that one was actually a vehicle incident, hit the pole during the wet, slick, rainy season. What I'd like to draw your attention to is the center picture. This is an underground substructure that's obviously flooded. These structures can be 10 by 10 by 20 feet. That's a whole lot of water in there. Okay, that's why it does take a little bit extra time for our underground crews to diagnose and troubleshoot these problems. Moving on. Okay, there are many types of outages caused by winter storms. Below are pictures of customer station with water intrusion on the left. To our overhead infrastructure down due to tree in the center picture, and then even a ice and snow in our Owens Valley service area. Okay, these differ from our summer storms, which primarily consist of overloaded equipment. All right. So customer communication, our PDOC, city EOC, and our electric trouble sections communicate with our public relations folks. There he is. To get messaging out to our customers. This can be how we're preparing, provide the customers with tips to be ready in case of power outages, remind customers about safety around down power lines, and share outage maps on the forward-facing website with information. Okay, so hopefully I wrapped that up quick. Are there any questions?
Oh, that was quick.
All right.
Commissioners, I'd just like to add, there's several different divisions that work together whenever we are in the middle of heat storm response or wind and rainstorm response. These two gentlemen are the ones that lead the charge on this, but we also work with our supply operations, which is our generation facilities, the energy control facility, which is our ECC up in the valley that dispatches transmission and subtransmission, and our ATI division that has telecom, because on these poles also resides telecommunications. So those folks are also called upon to go out there and do restoration work. This is why we are looking at realigning the power system to bring in these additional functionalities to the electric trouble section. So right now we have 24/7, 365 linemen under electric trouble under Mr. Mike Treyweek. Moving forward, we're going to have a full trouble organization with substation operations, maintenance personnel, and we're in negotiations now with Local 18 on how we're going to staff that as quickly as possible while we do the long-term strategic staffing plan as well. So,
thank you.
Those photos in particular really bring it home, because it reminds us again how very dangerous all of this is, how much, for not only our workers, but the public, their vehicles. I mean, this is like a 24/7 thing.
Absolutely.
So we greatly appreciate all the effort. And I know that windstorm that we had recently, they were telling people that, and with the weakened soil, though we're happy with the water over there, Mr. Waterman, it has weakened the soil and it will bring down these trees. So we're going to have trees falling right through spring or up to summer when the ground dries out thoroughly. So thank you for that presentation.
I have a question, if I may. I noted that you were talking about infiltration of underground infrastructure. Obviously, we're keeping our eye on the Palisades and the rebuild and significant undergrounding there. Are you tracking sort of lessons learned from prior storms and existing underground infrastructure and how that might inform the undergrounding efforts in the Palisades?
Absolutely. We're sharing all the data with both teams that are developing that the underground system for the Palisades. Yes.
Great. And then, I know this type of storm with a lot of wind and rain, obviously some of the more significant impacts will be to power system, but there are sometimes impacts to water as well. And, in other types of emergencies, like an earthquake, we would be all hands on deck on both sides. Can you speak just briefly to how the power distribution operational center works with other department EOCs, or kind of how that, and this might be an Anselmo Dave question, but I'd be interested in anyone's input on how we're making sure that power and water integrate in these emergency conditions.
You want to start PDOC and then I'll jump in on everything else?
Sure. PDOC, like mentioned here, we get our power groups together. So all the groups that, provide some, like Dave said, some portion of service to the electric. Then we also have the WEC, which, and the EOC, which Dave and Anselmo can take over on that, how we work together between those.
Thank you.
So essentially the PDOC, the Power Distribution Operations Center, is a power command that we stand up when we meet certain conditions. So recently in the last year and a half or so, we've hit the KPI of 5,000 customers is where we start to look at our outage management system and ask questions. If we find ourselves trending upwards from 5,000 and we find that number to be true, once we hit, then we start to ask enough questions. If it's starting to look like it's getting to be where we need to coordinate with other groups, then we would do a virtual activation of the PDOC. If we hit the 10,000 customers out and we verify this number to be true, then we are activating virtually the PDOC, and we look at activating in person from there. The PDOC is located at Lincoln Heights. It was built out by Mr. Walter Rodriguez, former director of transmission and distribution. So that asset lives under T&D, and essentially I call upon Mike to stand that up for power. If there starts to be a department-wide issue, now I'm on the phone with Anselmo and Zariah, and then Zariah is in charge of the Emergency Operations Center for the entire company, and then you could talk a little bit about WEC.
Sure, absolutely. So in the water system, if the emergency is one that is only specific to one division, we use the incident command system, and the division can handle it. If it seems like it's going to take multiple divisions of being impacted, what we do is we stand up the Water Emergency Command Center, and they provide support to multiple water system divisions as far as logistics. Larger events where the water system and the power system are potentially impacted, those then fall under the jurisdiction of the department's Emergency Operations Center. So WEC, PDOC staff all report up to the department's EOC center to make sure that we're well coordinated, especially when it comes to resources and logistics, because everybody has different needs, and part of our job is to provide clear direction on what the goals are for that particular period of time, and to ensure that we have all the resources necessary for both water and power systems.
Thank you so much. I think it's helpful for the public to elevate the coordination needed, and also just the interdependence of water and power, which many members of the public are not always aware of. The fact that we have high dependence on water in some of our power facilities, should there be a water outage, and certainly high dependence on power for some of our critical water treatment facilities. And so that collaboration across, which I've really seen improving in the last year, is so important. And I'm glad to hear of this, ICM coordination in emergency management. Thank you.
I would just say that although we've done tabletop exercises in the past, and we did have documentation, we have operating orders that kind of lay all this out, we had never actually on the power side activated the PDOC until about a year and a half ago. So because of Janice bringing on Zariah and Mona, they really brought an expertise here. So Zariah, did we miss anything in our explanation?
No, you covered it all. The only time that where we would have a water or power-centric activation that would require DEOC support at the enterprise level is like the Granada Hills water outage, where it just required so much precise communications and support into the community and logistical support. Then we decided to activate the DEOC.
Got it. Thank you. Well, I'm sure with your extensive expertise in emergency management, since this is one of the first few activations, you'll be looking at sort of after action, hot wash, et cetera, and I'll be interested to see what lessons were learned. Thank you.
Yes, and to that point, something we didn't really look at before, National Weather Service. Now we are looking at weather events, and we're using that predictive information to make decisions about what circuits we may have to turn on or off. In the past, as far as part of our wildfire mitigation plan, we haven't had power safety shutoff, but through the Palisades emergency, we did proactively shut down a transmission circuit, and we used that collaboration with the National Weather Service to help make that decision.
Thank you. We're looking forward to those wildfire mitigation planning updates later on as well. Thanks.
And we sure will get them.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask,
Certainly.
maybe for clarification, maybe for Zariah or Dave, you in your report helpfully mentioned the activation of the PDOC. And Dave, I think you mentioned, you had these thresholds of outages, especially confirmed outages at 5,000, 10,000 and so forth on the power side. But Zariah, also in your earlier report, you talked about activating EOC ahead because you knew that we were having storms that were coming with the events in December. So what's the difference between activating because you think something's coming, because you can see a weather forecast, maybe activating after a big event like an earthquake, where you still don't know yet what the scope is going to be, but you don't need to wait to confirm outages to know you had a big earthquake versus something else?
So I'll talk for the PDOC, Z, and then maybe you could come up and fill in the gaps that I'm sure I'll miss. So we look at being proactive. So there's a board action from a few years ago, and maybe Joe can remember. We established response levels for the electric trouble. I don't remember what year. I want to say 2015. I don't know if that's right. We established response levels for the electric trouble level. So when we were at normal level response, that is a promise to our customers that we will respond to your outage within 4 hours. It doesn't mean ETR, estimated time of restoration. It means response. So at response level normal, we're at 4 hours. So anybody that can look at our outage map and our internal data that shows the outage management system for the numbers, all of that's driven by our GIS system. We'll have a presentation on this in the future. But with response level normal, it's 4 hours. If we go to response level 1, then we're from 4 to 12 hours response. 2 is 12 to 24. And response level 3, it's TBD. Now at response level 3, we are required by board action to proactively staff and bring on power construction and maintenance substation electricians. In the past, we did not do that proactively, and I think it was hit or miss if we actually did it afterwards. So now that's why you see in the presentation we refer to 5 by 5. So under the new leadership at Power Construction and Maintenance, they've established a proactive feature like that so that we bring on 2 crews in each of the 5 service areas before we ever even get to the board requirement of making them come in. It's kind of the firefighter model. We're already in on premise, and we cut out that 2 to 3 hour delay for calling folks out. So those levels are a board action that's tied specifically to electric trouble. They don't have anything to do with the activation levels of the city EOC or the department EOC. Z?
And specifically for this situation, for this storm in December, it really was a game day decision after being briefed by the National Weather Service that afternoon of the 23rd, because the rain was we were going to get far more rain faster than was originally forecasted. They also weaved in the high potential for a tornado, which we did not know about until that day. So truly, in the morning, I talked to Dave and I said, I think we're fine with just a PDOC. After having heard the National Weather Service give us a briefing, we immediately adjusted to what the situation called for and decided to activate the EOC that evening.
And it's actually the same conversation prior to the Palisades tragedy. That morning, Zariah and I were standing in my office talking about proactively activating the department emergency operations center, and then we saw smoke on the hill. So we were already taking steps in that direction.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Are you concluded? Thank you very much again for your presentation. Is there a second one?
Good job.
I think that's it. That concludes that. We've heard of our commissioners attending one event. Are there any other reports by a commissioner on any committee activity?
Not at the time.
And I don't know what committees you ultimately will be on. As I said, I'm on the retirement committee, and I'm holding that down. I just enjoy it so much. But whatever committees you ultimately will be working on, I really want you to roll up your sleeves and dig in. It can be quite enjoyable. So no committee reports in that regard. Now, this is a matter that does not require a vote. It is for the presiding officer, or next time the president, to direct the commission secretary to file items K1 through K9, which are various notices that we get from the government, et cetera. And they're basically considered at that point historical documents that are remaining for us to peruse should we need to. On item 11 of we've already handled the minutes. Item M.
No new motions at this time.
Yeah, nothing here.
Any motion on your part? No. Thank you. Commission Secretary, have I skipped anything so far? Oh, yes. Is there any discussion with the neighborhood council representatives? Are there any in the audience, or have any notices been filed by them?
No community impact statements or formal positions were filed.
Either now or in the future, would you let this board know how many neighborhood councils there are?
Joe's office let us know that there are 99 councils.
So there are 99 councils that could have filed something with us or could speak to us at any time. So that will always be on our records. That's something we should take care of. Now, if I'm not incorrect, I think we have moved to the point of election of officers. And by the way, we do have another commissioner, as I think was mentioned earlier, who is still waiting to go before City Council. It would have been so wonderful to have had that person today, since we kind of were in a kumbaya type of mood here, and many things that are not normally said on the record were said on the record. But when that person comes, I will hope that you will be as warm as you have been in welcoming the two commissioners to my left and to my right. Still, at this point, we do have a quorum, so we are always able today to make any decisions for this board, even absent our remaining commissioner. So at this point, I would move to the point where we are to elect a president of the commission. And I would have entertained a motion for said office of president.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Alan Marks to be president of the board.
Thank you.
Alan Marks, would you, in fact, if you were voted in, would you even accept that?
Yes, it'd be a privilege. Thank you.
All right. With that having been stated, I would now call for a second.
Second that nomination.
Having heard the motion, having heard that this person would be a willing president if elected, I will call for our vote.
Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
Commissioner Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner TRAN?
Aye.
With unanimous consent, motion adopted.
Our president of the board will be forthcoming.
And I would ask you please continue to preside over this meeting, Commissioner Pinder.
All right. I will conclude this meeting then and continue. With that said, again, there'll be more formal welcomes and greetings when you do, in fact, take over at our next meeting. And I congratulate you on that now before everyone. I will now call for a motion for a vice president.
I would like to move and nominate Commissioner NURIT KATZ to be the vice president.
Second.
Commissioner KATZ, if in fact you are nominated, are you willing to serve?
I am willing to serve. It would be an honor. Thank you.
I call for that vote.
Commissioner KATZ?
Aye.
President Marks?
Aye.
Commissioner Pinder?
Aye.
Commissioner TRAN?
Aye.
With unanimous consent, motion adopted.
Madam Commission Secretary, will you please double check the entire roster to make sure that nothing has been overlooked before I move us into closed session?
All items have been addressed.
Madam Counsel, is there any other matter that you feel that we should go over before we move into closed session?
No, I'm ready to take us into closed session if you're ready.
I am ready. Thank you.
Okay. As you know, the California Open Meeting Law, the Brown Act, requires that we list the matters the board will consider in closed session. So please bear with me as I read the list. Today we have several items, 7 in fact. So I'll be reading the case names and court numbers for the record.
Thank you.
The board shall now recess into closed session for a conference with legal counsel regarding the following items. Gabriel Gonzalez versus Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 24 STCV 31461. Long Manhee versus LADWP, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 20 STCV 34249. Kara Geoziakis versus LADWP, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 23 STCV 30350. Yek versus LADWP, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 24 VECV 04955. Randy Simon versus LADWP, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 23 STCV 07592. Kathia Pimentel versus LADWP, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 22 CHCV 00934. And lastly, Molnar versus City of Los Angeles Superior Court case number 22 STCV 32888.
That concludes the announcements that have to be maintained on the record. I would say to our commissioners, please take at least 10 minutes before we adjourn into the conference room for our meeting. At this point, this meeting is officially brought to a close.
We will be, after the closed session, however, we will come back on the record to adjourn.
Thank you very much.
read mine, but I don't know if it's accurate.
So one of them got pulled, you know, right?
You gotta tell me what.
We're ready in the control room. Mics are muted currently. Just let us know when you're ready to go.
Will do, thank you. Does it work? Yes. Okay, good.
When do I say this?
After she's completed everything. Are you ready?
Yes.
AV, please cue everything up. We're ready to proceed.
Ready to go.
This is Alan Marks, President of the Commission. Valerie?
We're back in open session to report out the actions from closed session. And we will start with action number 1 involving the case called Gabriel Gonzalez versus Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. The board did not approve plaintiff's offer to compromise the case at $9,950,000. Agenda item number 5, the case of Randy Simon versus City of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. The board consented to a settlement of the matter in the amount of $500,000. Item number 6, Kathia Pimentel versus LADWP. The board consented to a settlement in the amount of $775,000. Board agenda item number 3, in the case called Kara Giozakis versus LADWP, the board provided settlement authority to make a 998 offer for $200,000. And in the Molnar case, that's Molnar versus City of Los Angeles, no action was taken. And item number 4, Yezgia versus LADWP was deferred.
Okay, thank you. And with there being no further business, I, with the unanimous consent of the board, order the meeting adjourned.